I'm about to reveal how Alex Hormozi made 100 million from cold emails. Yes, 100 million. Emails have been receiving more and more potential over the last few years, and now they've reached an all-time high for increasing profits. That's exactly why you should get into this game as soon as possible to reap all the rewards. And you don't have to worry about spamming inboxes. What I'm going to be revealing is more valuable than that. A framework that quite literally turns cold leads into paying clients. You can finally stop guessing what works and doesn't work and start closing deals. So what I'll be doing is breaking down the exact strategies that Alex Hormozi uses to generate and close leads, and also what he uses to scale his businesses. All right, without holding you any longer, let's get right into it. First thing you need to understand is what makes Alex Hormozi's cold email strategy so good. What he basically does is he keeps it simple and he cuts through all the noise inside the inbox. If you haven't noticed, there's a lot of emails going around nowadays and it's full of generic pitches and terrible intros. And the idea is you stand out, you become a black sheep in a white crowd. It's about sending a message so strong that it resonates with your audience and they just feel compelled to reply to you. You don't want to become the noise. I don't think you realize how many emails these business owners are getting. I talk to them on a day-to-day basis. It's a lot of crap just like sifting around. Trust me, you don't want to be one of them. The only reason I know this is because with the countless of businesses I've worked with, right? They all told me that the emails I sent through were different. They were personalized. They were short, to the point, sweet. They had a good offer. There was all these variables, which I'm going to go into, and why kind of Alex Hormozi's framework has been very important for this. It's just one of those things where the people you want to work with, I guarantee that they're receiving hundreds and hundreds of emails inside their inbox. They just look through it. Like, I don't know if you've ever looked at it and you've gone through, it's not something you want to look at. Like 80% of emails, probably more, are just unread. I read them just because I have fun, because I'm a cold emailer. And I like to see what is and isn't working and how they're inboxing. But in general, 80% plus of emails aren't even going to get read, like, or properly like sifted through, monitored. So my goal now is to make sure that you can break through the noise. So this is where we dive into the double V framework, the value and volume framework. It's a simple equation that everybody gets wrong. If you show upfront value to your prospect, to your client, this person you're emailing, it's a simple equation that everybody gets wrong. If you provide free value to a prospect upfront, and you actually provide them results, they are just more inclined to listen to you. You must realize that nowadays, there's a lot of these deadweight agencies going around. There's a lot of like 17-year-old basement kids starting businesses that just probably shouldn't be starting businesses. Sorry if you're one of them. Maybe you're also really good. Like, there's always space, but you need to be good at what you do. I have a client, right? I signed him recently, and he runs a software design agency for social media content agencies. So he basically makes software solutions for them. He has a lead magnet offer, front end offer, which is basically I can build you out a 24/7, or not 24/7, a 24-hour prototype. So he gets it done within 24 hours if they're a qualified prospect. I booked him 6 meetings in 6 days. That's the power of a front end offer. He literally booked 6 meetings, and he was like, Liam, like just slow down, please. Like we like we can't deal with this, because if they're starting to like sign on, if they're like getting into calls and stuff, they just can't deal with that sort of volume. But that's what a front end offer does. There's a high chance that they will respond. And let's say they don't, for example, right? The value of cold email is it's a volume game. These clients of mine, this software design client, I hooked them up and I was like, look, I'm going to send 3,000 emails for you a day. Some people send like 5, 10, 15, 20. They're like, okay, that's fine. The people that actually understand the game, they're like, okay, maybe 500 to 1,000 is like, okay, we can maybe operate on that front. Like, they're sending maybe 10, maybe 20,000 a month. These guys are sending 3,000 a day. 3,000. Let's just think about that. That's about 60,000 a month. Just make sure it's something you can consistently manage and upkeep. The more input you put in, the more output you get. That's how you book 6 calls in 6 days. Because if you can't manage it consistently, then there's no point, right? The more input you get, the more output you get. Naturally, that's just a linear equation. If you can't consistently do it, then the input goes down. So you'll need to build out the proper systems to handle 60,000 emails a month, maybe about 20,000 leads month-to-month basis. So if you aren't consistent, it's pointless. So genuinely, it really is that simple. You just need to focus on an irresistible offer. You need to send mass amounts of volume, and guess what? Calls just sort of end up in your calendar and you just kind of like roll with it. And frankly, this is the position most business owners would kill to be in. A channel that doesn't rely on referrals or doesn't rely on inbound, where you can actually book calls on a consistent basis without depending on unstable channels. And this is exactly how Alex Hormozi was able to make his millions in his business ventures with cold email. So let's say you don't have an irresistible offer, or you're not too confident in your product or what you're kind of selling now. What I'm going to show you now is the value equation that Alex Hormozi uses. And as you can see, it's in front of me. The dream outcome, the likelihood of achievement, time delay, and the effort and sacrifice. So I'm going to break this down one at a time for you. And I'm going to kind of incorporate this to how you can make this work for cold email, because a lot of people have heard it, but you need to specifically craft it in a way that works works for cold email. Right, so the dream outcome is when you say to them what they're actually going to get. So the example that Alex Hormozi always gives, right, is a destination flight to a resort of any kind. You want to sell them not the journey of like how they're going to get there, right? But you need to sell them the outcome. So when they arrive in this Hawaii place, or let's just say Hawaii for a resort, right? You need to tell them, look at all the food you're going to get. Look at the weather. It's going to be so hot. Look, the pool, you're going to have this, like all this stuff that you get to do. You need to sell that to them, not the plane flight or like doing all the luggage. So that's the dream outcome. So in this situation, if you want to equate it to cold email, right, you need to tell them the exact amount of money they are going to get, their exact benefit. And I understand there's services that can be a bit difficult for, and what I'll say is there are always ways around it. You just have to be smart with your cold emailing. You need to give them an outcome, a tangible outcome where you are going to get this amount of revenue, or you are going to get this amount of followers, or I can get you this many meetings in a month. So like my offer is I can get you 5 to 25 meetings on a performance basis. That like I'm giving them the outcome of I will get you 5 to 25 meetings on a performance basis. Most people don't buy terrible offers. So just don't present terrible offers to people. So the second component is the perceived likelihood of achievement. What you need to understand is just because you say to someone like I can get you 30, 50, 100 meetings a month, if you've never done it before, they don't trust you. And the downside is if you get this wrong, just say you have a guarantee on, they're losing time, they're losing money, maybe even if you don't have a guarantee. There's just too much risk inside. It's one of those things where this is like, I'll give you a bit of some cold email sauce here, but the perceived likelihood of achievement is what's missing in most emails. The other three are pretty easy to do. If you can focus specifically on point 2, you will get very far in this game. The third component is time delay. This is basically how long it takes to get from point A to point B. And it's pretty simply, it's just how long does it take me? If again, I'm going to go back to Alex Hormozi because he always gives these examples. If I want to get into shape, I have to work out, I have to eat healthy food, I have to do this for 6, maybe 12 months. And that's why it's expensive, but it's not as expensive if you want to pay for like a PT or something, which is his example. The other example he always gives is, or I could just go get surgery and get it all removed. The delta between, like the time delta between I can just get a surgery and I have to go work out and do all this stuff, it's just immense. So that's pretty simple. It's just time delay, right? So there's these next two things, which is effort and sacrifice. And again, I'm going to link this back to Alex Hormozi. So he always gives the example of, I'm actually going to go back to my last one, which is if you want to get like a 6-pack, you want to get into shape, there's a lot of effort and sacrifice. So like the sacrifice would be money. You have to sacrifice money and time to get this. Well, some people have that, some people don't. Rich people prefer to keep their time. The next point is they're sacrificing their time and their money. And in their effort is it a done for you service? Is it a do it with you service? There's a few different ways of framing this. And if it's a done for you service, that means they have zero effort on their side to do anything. And that is the pinnacle of people just want stuff done for them. They will give you money for that. So let's bundle this all together now, right? If we want to put the dream outcome, the likelihood of achievement, the time delay, and the effort and sacrifice all into kind of one little spectacle, we'll get you 10 leads in 30 days, or you don't pay on a done for you basis. Now that is a bit of a mouthful, but it has everything. So it has the 10 leads, which is the dream outcome. That's what they're getting. You have in 30 days, which is the time delay. You have the or you don't pay, which is the perceived likelihood of achievement. And you have on a done for you basis, which is the effort and sacrifice. So they have a pretty good grasp of this offer that you are basically encapsulating for them and you're building out for them. Just to add on to this, if you'd like to increase the perceived likelihood of achievement, you can also add on case studies that you've done this for. And if you want to add fuel to the fire, they can be the exact same industry or a similar company. So the next step is building a bulletproof leads list. This is Alex Hormozi's way of making sure that you actually reach the right people, quite literally changing the game. So Alex Hormozi likes to focus on quality over quantity, because he realizes that if you can reach the right people, then they are more likely to buy more. It's just the perception, the gap between like who you're contacting. You have a message that resonates properly with them. It's nothing like you send an email to a granny saying, I can get you in shape. I don't think she cares. But if you send it to, let's say, an out of shape 25-year-old that's like, I kind of want to get in shape and I want to maybe live my life, it's going to resonate a lot more. So I'm going to go through a few ways where we can scrape a pretty good leads list, and basically how you can go about it, some for more expensive, some for more cheap, depending on how you want to go about it. Yeah, so the 4 ways you can run is paid tools with tools like Apollo.io, which I do recommend quite a lot. You can hire a VA, which is very good for getting very targeted leads. If you have a database that or a select few leads that you have to get through emails. You have pre-made lists, which is basically you buy lists off people that other people have bought as well, and they have it all kind of set out and you can buy it off them. Very simple. and you have the done with you approach. So this is basically you do it yourself. You have to go through Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or LinkedIn, and you have to make sure that everything is correct on their end. If you have a budget, like a small enough budget, if you're running any sort of agency, I would recommend paid tools like Apollo, just because you can clarify everything down, filter it down, and you also have, there's another video on my channel, but you can pull leads for $2 to $3 from the Apollo database, and you have access to about 200 million. So pretty good in my opinion. And look, I've doubled booking rates on some of my campaigns where I just changed the leads list and I'm just hitting the right people and the message actually resonates with them. So this is genuinely where you should be spending, I wouldn't say 80% of your time, but at least 60% of your time just trying to actually figure out the correct leads list. That's where I'm spending a lot of my time now as well. Other than that, and maybe some clay tables. So you now have a leads list, you now have your offer, and you now have the framework to make an offer that people actually want. So you have everything kind of set up. But now you actually have to contact these people. You can't be sending out manual emails all the time. After a while, you're like, I have a business to run. There's lots going on. You cannot be doing this manually all the time. You need to get comfortable with using tools like Instantly and Smartlead. And you need to be comfortable with investing in softwares and tech that will make your life easier. This is not just a general lesson for cold email. It should be a general lesson for any of the other endeavors you're doing. Going through this, you need to be really careful with how you go about your process. When you're using tools like Instantly and Smartly, don't ever use your main domain. If you ever use that, I just don't. Just please don't use your main domain. The reason being is you are going to get flagged for spam. And if you hit the spam folder with your main domain, you're in lots of trouble. So we were talking earlier about how sending volume matters and where you should be sending lots of volume. 3,000 a day is the hope. If you want to be sending that sort of volume, you need to spread it out across many different domains, buying lots of different domains that are similar to your main one. Doing that on platforms like Pork Bun, maybe Spaceship, there's a ton going around in one.com, absolutely loads of them, right? And with that, you can spread out your volume across multiple different domains, making sure that if they get flagged, you're okay. So if Alex Hormozi and I are able to leverage these tools to send thousands of emails, you can too, right? To put it into perspective, I'm sending about 200 to 250,000 emails a month across 6 to 8-ish clients across various different industries. That's a lot of emails. It's probably around 10 to 15K a day. This is very doable. Anybody can do this. The more volume you put in, the more conversions you're going to get. And that's just pretty common in this space of things, doing large volumes of outreach. So you'll obviously want an automation like this. And with all this in place, you'll be able to send an unthinkable amount of cold emails each month. You have no idea. It'll be incredible when you try it. And if you have a qualified leads list to complement all of this, it's a big multiplying factor. And I would 100% recommend seeing the results and booking calls into your calendar. The final piece of the puzzle that Alex Hormozi likes to leverage, and also I like to leverage, a lot of these tactics are from big guys in the space. Alex Hormozi is one of them, is incorporating social proof into basically everything you do. Social proof is just the secret weapon of removing doubts. And you just need to realize that a lot of people don't trust you. You're a random guy on the internet emailing this person. Imagine that for a second. It's very difficult to do this. You need to leverage as much social proof as possible. 80% of the people, before they even reply to you, they're probably going to look at you as a person and see if you exist. So they're going to put your domain name into the bar. They're going to look at your X, maybe if you're on X. They're going to look at your YouTube. They're going to look at your LinkedIn. They're going to see if you exist as a person. It's very easy to get scammed nowadays. So just don't be one of them and exist. The best types of social proof is real world example of results you've actually driven that you put on your site, on your social medias, that other people are talking about you. Like a testimonial, maybe some sort of video proof, maybe a video case study, all this stuff. If you can put this on your website, it breaks down every barrier you can possibly think of and the conversion rates go through the roof. So with all this in place, with all this social proof, you need to find a way to then incorporate it and tie it up nicely into an email. The Pain Solution CTA framework. So you make sure it's presented in a way that shows the result that the prospects desire. So you identify a pain or the biggest challenge that these guys are currently dealing with. And just a quick tip, use ChatGPT. A prompt I would recommend is, you can say, hi ChatGPT. You can say, hi ChatGPT. I'm currently running this type of agency. These guys are my target audience, ICP. So if I was to reference/highlight the software development company, hi, so we build out software, custom software development for social media agencies. Can you give me 5 to 10 pain points that these guys are currently dealing with? Very simple. It's not difficult. The next step is the case study/solution framework. So from this, you now have Poke the Bear. So it's called Poke the Bear from Josh Brown. And the way this works is you then put a case study or solution afterwards. So they're like, okay, I have this problem. I then need to you need to highlight how you can fix their problem specifically. You can either put in a case study of someone you've helped before with this exact problem that's very highly likely to convert, or you can highlight the solution you have. Maybe if you don't have a case study, you still have to do it somehow, some sort of solution. So the next step is the call to action framework. You want to make sure that the CTA is very simple, very quick to the point. Something like, oh, are you open to learning more? With all this in place, you now have the framework to build out a cold email that's able to convert. And what I will say is, if you can use AI with platforms like Bitscale, platforms like Clay, you can add fuel to the fire. That's the best way of putting it. So you already have a fire burning. Maybe it's kind of like medium size. If you can throw fuel on a fire, that burns and it makes a big damn fire. And you need to make sure that if you can do that, then you're going to convert way more prospects. And to put this into perspective, when I use this framework, so this isn't even for the software development company. I have another client that is a PR client, and I booked him 8 calls in 3 weeks in the finance industry. And these are all companies with 25 plus employees. So it works. Use it. To put this into perspective, I'm working with another client. So this isn't the software one, but he's a PR one, and he has a 10K plus offer, which is basically I can get you on most publications, etc. How that kind of like works. And he booked 8 calls in 3 weeks with this framework. And all these companies were pretty big honcho companies inside the finance industry with about 25 people plus. So it works. Do it. Just take these steps and incorporate them. So there you have it, the exact strategies that Alex Hormozi uses to scale his businesses into a $100 million lead gen machine. And if you're serious about scaling your business, cold email is by far one of the best strategies to do so. If you're a B2B business and you want to scale up and you want to stop relying on inbounds and referrals that are unstable, you want to send 30 to 50,000 personalized cold emails a month with AI, there's a call below. Book a call. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day. See ya.